Cool background. Who is Asif? Shall I admit him too?
Allow him. I'm actually in my office. Okay.
There we go. Hello, Asif.
Hello, Asif.
Asif, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah. Hi.
Hi. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you.
Awesome.
How are you doing?
So let's talk a little bit about what you guys are doing. So you have a rather innovative company, right?
Yeah.
I've looked at your website and I can see you do a lot of PCB design. Can you tell me a little bit more about it?
Actually, we are a product development company. Basically, we develop IoT solutions, which involves some electronics, some hardware parts, and also some softwares and their connectivity between them. So we basically try to design customized solutions for the industries, for the corporates. So when we plan for a product, then we at first make a prototype, some breadboard prototypes, and then if it is working, we build the communications with a cloud server, basically from AWS server. And then when the prototype is working fine, and then we go for mass production. Then we design an industrial grade PCB, and then design, we make it sometimes in our local from local suppliers, sometimes mostly from China, basically the PCBs, and then we make the assembly. For large scale production, we make a partial assembly from China, also from some factories which have some high quality pick and place machine setups, and then the rest of the parts are assembled here in our lab, in our production unit, and then packaging, testing, various stages testing, and then go for customer for delivery.
Right. So do you actually do the assembly? You do smaller scale assembly at your local place, at your office.
Yes.
But when it comes to bigger, larger scale assembly, then you hire a Chinese manufacturer to do that.
Yes.
All right.
Basically, it's not all about the scale. Some components sometimes need to assemble by machine for better quality, for faster production. So those components we assemble in China.
Right.
Like,
so
what very
does
small.
Yeah,
okay.
Give me some examples.
For example, for some BGA components, like for some communication modules, for some Wi-Fi modules or some GSM modules, they sometimes have ball grid soldering pads, right?
Yeah.
So those are very difficult to solder by hand or by small scale production setup. So those components we take help from our Chinese vendors.
Right. So what does a typical process look like when you start working with a client? You do, I guess you do some sort of pre-study into the kind of product they want designed, and then you, how do you proceed from there? What is the process of working with you?
Yeah, we at first we give a lot of time for brainstorming, for feasibility studies, like what is the actual requirement, what actual problem we are going to solve. For example, one of our very popular product, that is GPRS based, SIM based biometric attendance solution.
Fingerprint and GPRS based
fingerprint and biometric, yes, fingerprint and card reader device for time attendance, for access control, something like that.
So it is a device that you essentially mount into doorways to control locks.
Doorways,
right?
Control locks, yes. Also for time attendance tracking. For example, our devices, almost 5,000 pieces are used in many schools, many remote schools in our country. You know, I don't know if you know about Bangladesh. It's it's a third world country basically. So in many remote places, there is limitation for internet connectivity, broadband internet connectivity. There is
Right.
no Wi-Fi. In fact, in our country, in many places, there is limitation of electricity too. So
Okay.
when we were working on a project like this, some remote attendance tracking is required. So that
Right.
time back in 2015, we didn't get any kind of device which basically these kind of devices need a computer support, a desktop or a computer support, which can fetch the information from the device and it can store in the computer memory. And if I want to get the access of that information remotely, that is also very much difficult. We need to connect it to a server by some internet service providers. That is, maybe in that area no internet service provider is available. So those are the challenges when we were working on that project. So and then we realized that we can design a customized product for them. So we plan for a device which can have built-in internet connectivity
Right.
inside them.
So
So in
is
our
this
country,
internet connectivity for the purpose of fetching access data
information,
from database?
yes, access data,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
So for internet connectivity, we have used GPRS module.
Right.
In all over the country, there is telecom network.
Yeah.
So we plan to use that network because maybe there are many places there is no internet supplier, but there is a telecom connectivity. So we have
Yeah.
used that connection, and there are many places where no power backup, battery backup. So we have used a built-in battery in the device so that it can provide more than 4 hours power backup. So if there is any power failure, it can run smoothly without any problem.
Right.
So this kind of customizations we made, and then we have made some prototypes. We have made some piloting projects in some remote places, and it was a huge success. It was a big example that this kind of device can solve the problem. And then back in last year 2019, our government from the government side, it was initiative to expand the project nationwide.
Right.
So there are almost 65,000 government primary schools in our country.
Yeah.
So all the schools are regulated. All the schools are recommended to take this kind of devices. So this is also a running project. This year, there is a break. There is interruption due to COVID-19, but it is a running project where our device is very much popular.
That's awesome.
So that's an example. That product is also got featured in GSMA Asia Pacific last year.
Right. I'd love to see any information about that product. You can
Yes,
DM me.
I can send you the document of the GSMA where this was got featured. And you know about Telenor Group from Norway?
Yeah, Telenor.
Yes, they have operation in Bangladesh. Their sister concern name is Grameenphone. That is the largest telecom operator in Bangladesh. They have become a partner with us because we are using the telecom network, and they are the largest telecom service provider. So we have made a business relationship with them, and then we work jointly.
Right.
So with Grameenphone and us, means in a ways, we have got a large portion of the market with that product. That is an example product. So when we are developing that product, we have in initial stages we have got many field level problems, and then we have solved them, and then we have made many improvements, like when there is sudden power failure, the device, maybe there are some surge voltages, some problems in the power quality, so that should be overcome. The device should not get burned in any power surge. This kind of small improvements we have made on that device over last 3 years.
Is
when
that
we
very
launched
common
it in the market.
in Bangladesh, that you get both power failures and you also get unstable performance in the net?
Yes.
Right?
The power quality has many issues here in Bangladesh.
Okay, all right.
So,
So
that is an example product.
yeah,
Okay. And then we started to work in the industries. Industries means Bangladesh is, there are many ready-made garments industries. Bangladesh is the second largest garments product exporter in the world. After
right.
China, we are the second place. So many thousands of garments industries and also many other industries are there. So in the
What kind of
industries,
products do you do for the garments industry? Is it some sort of
basically,
control for machinery, or what kind of products is it?
basically that are for monitoring the machines. Like every machine needs some maintenance works.
Right. Is
Every
it
6 months.
LoRaWAN based sensors, IoT sensors?
Yes, it's an IoT product. What we do, this is also customized. It varies from industry to industry. Many factories need different kind of solutions. For example, in one factory, what we have done, we are monitoring their production line.
Right. So what kind
So
of
they
machines
have
are
to.
part of that production line? What kind of machines are we talking about?
Like sometimes it's a part of a shard, so it's going from one stage to another stage. Sometimes it's some electronics factory, so it's going from through the conveyor belt system like this. It
Right.
varies from
Yeah.
industry to industry. So what we are doing, we are monitoring the machines, we are monitoring the production status. So sometimes some machine is going in downtime, so we have to check which machine is now downtime, for which reason it is in downtime, what is the actual runtime, so what is their efficiency actually. Their
Right.
calculated efficiency may be 85%, but actual efficiency may be 72%. So we are giving them those kinds of comparisons.
So what are you saying, that you're making sensors for machines that are
We are not
originally
making
mechanical?
sensors. Actually,
No?
we are
Okay.
not making sensors. We are using the sensors to monitor those machine status, machine
Right.
parameters. Sometimes it is temperature monitoring. Sometimes it is weight measurement. Sometimes it is optical sensor to count the products. Sometimes it is RFID sensors to just to confirm a stage that is completed. They just confirm a stage. They are pushing a button, or they are just reading a RFID tag
Mm-hmm.
to monitor the stages. So those are customized as
So
per the requirement.
is this a solution that connects those sensors to the cloud? You mean
Yes,
through
exactly. So
LoRaWAN?
our main solution is a data acquisition a gateway, an IoT
Right.
gateway, which we have
Okay.
designed, because our expertise is to design some communication device which can read some information from a source and then it can send it to a cloud server.
Right.
So that is our electronics which we have designed, that it can get digital or analog both type of sensor information, and then it can communicate to a cloud server either by GPRS or by Wi-Fi or by WLAN, something like that.
Right.
And
So
then
I have a
when we are
question
getting the information,
regarding
yes, sure.
sensors. So is this existing sensors that are already in the machines, or are you fitting the machines with new sensors as well?
It can be both. In an industry, we are integrating with their existing PLCs.
Okay,
You know
right.
about PLC. Yeah.
So that's
So
something I wanted to clarify a little bit. So so it's existing machines that have existing PLCs that control the motors and read the
yes,
sensors.
yes.
And what you're
Yes.
doing is basically an add-on to that that connects to the LoRaWAN gateway and
Yes.
transmits the information to the cloud, right?
Yes, exactly.
Right. Then
So
it's 100% clear. Cool.
so this is one kind of example. Our gateway is reading the information from the PLC.
Yeah.
Using their communication method, it can be Profinet or it can be Profibus like this.
Yeah.
And then it's our gateway is sending the information to cloud server, and then we are building the cloud application. Different kind of representations, analytics, predictions, many things. It's like something that like some big data application.
Right.
And sometimes we need to use additional sensors too. For example, in the same industry which I am talking about, the PLC is giving many information, but they need additional noise sensor, additional vibration sensor, so which is
Right.
not incorporated in the PLC, which is not there available in the PLC system. So we are adding them additionally with the gateway. then it is getting the separate information through that sensor and sending to the same cloud server.
Okay, cool. And then the user then gets access to some sort of web interface that shows
Yes,
them.
definitely.
Right.
We have a big software development team too, which is 12 developers, DevOps, UI designer, backend developer.
Yeah.
So total 12 developers are there working in our team from
Right.
software side, and for hardware development there are 7 engineers.
So how generic are these devices? Let's say somebody wants to order a device like this from abroad. Is it do these devices connect to your network to a VPN of some sort where you have your interface? So they can literally be anywhere in the world, right? They're not limited to any particular place.
Okay, Asif is our
Yeah.
CTO. Yeah, I think Asif can explain better.
All right.
Asif?
Sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
So,
Asif.
yeah. So the devices generally communicates with our own server that is hosted in an AWS cloud. So,
Right.
but for some countries or for some organizations, there we face sometimes that these sort of requirements that they need the server in their own cloud or own data center, or for some company for a specific company in Sweden, we had to deploy the server in their server because Sweden probably has a government rule that
Restriction.
no data can leave the country. So we had to host the server in a server that is located within Sweden. So yeah, we can do that, but generally our devices automatically communicates with our own server.
Right.
And so to answer your question, so it is pretty generic. You can just have describe the problem to us. Uh, we made little tweakings on the device, and then ship it to you, and you can just install it following our guideline, and it will automatically send the data to the cloud. You will have an user ID, 0-day and password, and you can access the web panel from anywhere in the world.
Right. And is it possible to make it connect to a custom server?
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
That's
possible.
okay. Yeah. So I guess that if one goes through your cloud, then you have some form of data plan or usage plan associated with that, right? When one uses your services.
Yes.
But then it's also possible to connect it to another server where some custom software just receives the values from the sensors, right?
Yes. Are you asking about API connectivity?
Yeah, we basically provide API so that the third-party server calls the API and receives the data.
Okay, awesome, great, cool. So what else do you do? Is there any other interesting products that you develop?
Actually, we have developed the biometric solution, and it's some versions with customization like Wi-Fi version, GPRS version, some model differences, some sensor differences. So that is a biometric solution. We have developed the industrial gateway, IoT gateway, and connectivity and software.
Mm-hmm.
We have developed some core software product too, like our Salesforce management software.
What kind of software is that?
Asif, will you explain or me?
Yeah. So this is basically to monitor your Salesforce and how they are and to track your sales basically. But I think this is mostly applicable for companies in Bangladesh because there is this model in Bangladesh that people for large companies they have field sales agents and they works to shop and take collect order from those shops that is located in the street, and then the delivery man delivers the order. So from the headquarter it is almost impossible to track the orders and track the employees if they are going to all the shops. and plan their daily routes and everything. So this is a comprehensive software for those organizations to manage and monitor and ultimately have a total grip on yourselves. So for this software, we have our own national award in 2019,
19.
and it has been being used by one of the biggest broadband manufacturer company in Bangladesh.
Okay.
So that is to monitor the
Also,
sales.
we are working with, we probably forgot to tell you about this. We are working with ultra high frequency solutions, and with these solutions, we basically monitor vehicles, vehicles for parking management system and smart parking management system, and maybe for arcades, what we are doing.
Are we talking
about the age of solution?
Are we talking about some form of radar solutions or 5G communication solutions?
No, we are working. We are not actually working for 5G till now, because 5G network, maybe it will take more time to come here in Bangladesh.
Okay.
But we are working on ultra high frequency RFID radio frequency solutions,
Right.
which we use in already. We are using in our garments also, and for vehicle tracking, because in the vehicle number plate there are some RFID chip, so we can identify them.
So when you go ultra high frequency, does that give an increased range of the RFID tag? Or
Yes,
what are the
yes,
benefits
yes.
of that?
Yes, for increased range, that is the main basic benefit. Because
Right.
we need to identify from distance when a car is going or when a vehicle is moving. We need to identify that. We are planning for a solution. We are planning for developing a solution for toll plaza management for the big
For what?
roads, highways, for toll management.
Oh, toll management. Right.
Yes, yes, yes.
So how does that work?
Also,
How does that work in practice? Is it that the number plate would contain an RFID tag that would be
exactly.
scanned
The
by
number
the?
plate contains RFID tag, and then we used our readers and antennas to identify those tags.
Right. But is that something that is implemented in Bangladesh? Because, or would it require an upgrade of all?
It's not
number plate?
practically implemented till now.
Okay.
The government is planning to implement, and we are designing the solutions.
Right, but you can literally use it for anything, anything that needs tracking. So like containers.
Yes,
and,
yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Now we are designing a packaged product that is load cell tracking for industries. That means for the consumer product manufacturers, in their factories they have to load the products in a truck, in a covered van, or in a transport vehicle, right?
Yeah.
So before loading, the truck weight needs to calculate it.
Yeah.
And after loading, they again measure the weight. So from the weight, they can calculate how much product is loaded in that vehicle, in that container.
So is the weight? So when the product is, do you mean that you weigh the product first, and then the weight is stored in a RFID tag, and then it's read at another place?
No, not in the RFID tag. Basically, there is load cell. They use load cell.
Okay.
That is actually large scale.
Yeah, I understand. I understand the scale, but okay. So you weigh it, and then that is stored in the database, and then you read the RFID tag at another place and cross-reference.
No, at the same place. We take the measurement of weight, and we identify that vehicle. Which vehicle is now being measured the weight.
So this is basically necessary to identify which truck is taking how much product. So to track these information, as the manufacturing companies are producing a really huge amount of products every day and transporting a lot of products every day, it gets very difficult to track which truck is taking how much product, and when they're leaving the place, when they're coming to the factory, and when they're leaving from the factory, and all these informations. So what we did, we installed an UHF system and the load cell system, so that whenever the truck enters the facility, it gets tracked, and the weight is also tracked, and then whenever the truck is leaving, the time and the truck is also tracked, and the weight as well. So we get when the truck came and how much product it took and when it left. So that the company has an accurate information about the transport system.
Right. That's really useful. So they can keep statistics of how much throughput is going through the trucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we provide this kind of solutions to the industries basically, and we have the expertise of designing any new solution, any to work on to make research on uh, solving some other problems like this. So we have the expertise of designing PCBs which have power quality, which is like when we design a PCB, we need to keep in mind about the EMI reduction.
Yeah.
We need to keep in mind about the size, compact. Sometimes we need to make the product in a very small, compact size. So those kinds of industrial challenges we need to solve regularly. So as we work on practical products, so we have that experience and capability to design some new things like this, both in hardware and
Right.
software.
So what kind of chips do you typically work with? Do you have any specific experience in with one particular family of microcontrollers, or do you work with a
Most of the cases for small solutions, we use AVR microcontrollers.
right?
And in some sophisticated cases, we use ARM microcontrollers, ARM processors like
So like
M0,
STM32.
M4. Yes, STM32 is a very popular chip.
Yeah.
And for some large scale activities, we are using Linux-based processors, small computers, like some modified versions of Raspberry Pi, Orange Pi, Rock Pi, like this.
Right. So if one hires you to create a product including the firmware, do you use any open source firmware as a basis for your software that you develop, or do you have your own software? How does that work in practice?
So for basically we have a underlying architecture ready that basically works for the basis of any solution. So it has the central communication bus, which is the basis of communication, intermodal communications, and we have in that board we have already a lot of pins and IOs ready and converters ready. So that basically that is a system we have built upon the Linux system, and we use that whenever as the basis of any solution at first. But if a custom solution is required such that
Yes, we can work on
we
that.
have to.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes, I can hear. Are you asking me anything? Hello. Sorry, what Asif was saying, actually, we have some basic code structure already developed. Like when we are working in AVR microcontrollers, we have the communication protocols already built in. We have the encryption design, which we have already implemented in our other products. So
Right.
when we design any new product, we just use make the solution and then use that communication protocol and then use that encryption, the similar encryption like this. When we are shifting to any Linux-based solution, also there is separate code base, the communication interface already we have made for last 5-6 years from our experience. The communications are already built in. So we just make the core part, we just develop the core firmware, and the other communication protocols are already there is built in, which are developed by us actually. So our firmware engineers here, they can work very easily because already we have made some of our own libraries. Like we need to interface a TFT display, for example, for a new product. So they just call the library for the display, and it's interfaced within a very short time. So this kind of advantages we have achieved for last 5 and 6 years while working.
Right. Okay. Great. I have a better idea now of what you guys are doing. So I think it was a very valuable and informational interview.